you won this car. But yeah, but God wouldn't want me to have it. What? Okay, give it to me then. Now, because I'll be right now like, give it to me. But you're a pastor, and you're right. And so if you don't want it, God gave it to me. So that is dumb. Please don't let people tell you no stupid stuff like that. God doesn't want you well off, and God doesn't want you to have things. God will bless us. What's the point of him blessing us then? What's the point? Blessed to give it away? Everything? Now, he does bless us so we can have something. But not everything. I'm supposed to just walk in my house and go, I don't want to have it. I want to live in a box. Come on, honey. We're going to live in this box and just be humble. What? That's stupid. No. And so Jesus comes back and says, listen, the person, but if you're going to be great, if Berea Covenant is going to be a great church, it means that we have to be the servant. We have to outserve everyone else. One thing I love about Pastor Grogan and I love about Stone Creek is that they do serve very well. They serve. The chairs we're sitting in, they gave us the money back. We bought the chairs. He called me on the phone and said, "We give me y'all your money back for them chairs. Why y'all buy them chairs? We give you your money back." I said, "Okay." Last week, Pastor Ricky came and we tried to give him a check. What did Pastor Ricky say? "I can't take it. I was told not to take it."
We got a check in the mail yesterday from Stone Creek.
They gave it back to us. We gave them a check, which is what you're supposed to do when somebody comes as a guest. Pastor Grogan called me on the phone and said, "We're not going to take your check." I told him not to take it. I said to him, I'm instructing for us to give it to him anyway. And so we had a battle of trying to give him money and him saying, I can't take it. And then for them to get it and then send it back to us.
You can get it to me
now watch this. This is after he paid the $300 back to us for the chairs we bought for our church. That's how you become the greatest. When this boy Kiwan, or what's his name, the kid that got killed out here, Pastor Grogan and Stone Creek paid for his funeral. His parents couldn't afford it. Not one black church in this community gave a dime. Even though they was marching, they was hollering, they was screaming, they were protesting. It was this white man and this white church out here that turned around and paid for every dime for this little boy's funeral. They paid for everything for it. That's how you serve your community. That's how. And so then when people look and say, well, why he got so many black people? Because he served the community. He paid for this kid's funeral. 50 black churches, nobody gave a dime. Not one dime. And so he says, Jesus says, listen, if you're going to be the greatest, he says, become a slave. You got to become a slave to everybody else. A slave. Y'all think I'm joking. I'm joking. He said, you got to become a slave. Look at it. Go to verse 26. Verse 27, he says, and whoever wishes to be first among you shall be your slave. The person who will be exalted will be the one who's the least. Now, that's why I tell you that Jesus does things countercultural. Think about slavery. Who in the world would put the slave in charge? No one would put the slave in charge. Jesus says, no. The person who works the hardest serving is the one we put in charge. He says, remember, the last shall be first. And the first shall be last.
Yes, sir.
Countercultural. So here it is. What Jesus says is, work hard on being last. Work hard on being last. Work hard on putting people before you. Work hard on serving people first. And that's going to make you number one. We have to, as a church, work hard on putting this community first. What are the needs of the community? What do they need? What do they desire? How do we help them? And as we do that, that makes you first. That's why Stone Creek got all them black people. All those black folk was going to black churches. They all attended black churches. And now they all attend this church with this white pastor. Why? Because the black church has stopped serving and started serving themselves. We want money. We want pastor's anniversary day where you raise $15,000 for me. For what? What are you raising $15,000 for me on Shepherd's Day?
Cadillac.
We want to make sure Black church has decided that the pastor needs to have the biggest house in the church and everybody else live in a shack. For what? And I don't have any, pastors don't even have any kids, but they got an 8-bedroom house. Why? We want to drive Cadillacs, BMWs, and everything else, and while the rest of the parishioners drive busted cars and can't get a car that runs right and can't get a car that... Why? Why? And then they wonder why black people would leave their churches and go to where a white man is. It's because he serves the community. It's not that he's any better than anybody else. It's just the fact that he has a different mentality, and he has decided that I will not be the type of pastor who ran around in the biggest house with the biggest car. As a matter of fact, the man drives a BMW that somebody gave him. Somebody gave it to him. Why? Because he's a servant. Because he was willing to drive a bucket. He was willing to drive a regular old car. And somebody saw who he is and figured, man, let's bless him. That's how we become the best. That's how we become the greatest. It's when we're serving everybody else. That's what we're going to do, you all. It's when we die to our flesh. It's when we trust God to put us in position. And it's when we serve like a slave to everybody else. And that's what we're getting ready to do, you all. I pray that you all are ready to go with me and watch what God is about to do. During the 9/11 attacks, you all, terror attacks, all the airlines were crumbling, except Southwest. Everybody else, airlines were going bankrupt, but Southwest wasn't. And so when they studied to see what was it that Southwest was doing, one thing that Southwest prided themselves on was customer service. They always took care of the customer. And when everybody else was releasing employees, Southwest gave their employees stock options. How can you afford to give stock options when everybody else is going bankrupt? And the leader of Southwest said, we will not change from serving the people. That's what we've done all of our life. That's what we'll continue to do. So this Wednesday is the first step on becoming the greatest church. It's when we go to the corner and we just pray for people. We're not giving them anything. We're not asking them for anything. Simply, what do you need prayer for? And we're going to pray for them. And let them go on. And the only thing that we ask is when God answers your prayer, that you come back and just let us know that God blessed you. That's it. So this Wednesday, 6 o'clock, we're going to meet here. Well, about 5:45, we're going to meet here as we get ready to go to our place. And I believe the first place we're going to go is right where we started, on Willis and Eureka. And we're just going to stand there, and as people come, we're just going to ask them, hey, we just can't, because they're going to ask you, why are you here? To pray for you. If you need prayer, you got something you want us to pray about? And we're just going to pray. Why? Because we servants, period. And we want to be considered the greatest church in the kingdom. And the only way to become that is we got to get out of here and we got to serve. And so that's what we're going to do. That's how you become a spiritual leader. That's how you do it. As a matter of fact, I remember Boo told me a testimony about how he prayed